I'm celebrating Canadians and talking about the innovation that has been formed in Canada. We know some of the famous ones, but what about things that you use every day? I mentioned earlier the zipper. I mentioned those big green garbage bags. That's Canadian. How about this one? Is this the top of the list or what? Edwin Asselbergs in 1962 invented instant mashed potatoes. That's a Canadian gem. He figured out a way to reconstitute potato flakes and got the patent for the process. 1962, landmark in Canada. Why isn't this man on a coin or a Canadian dollar bill, or at least have a picture in Parliament? Edwin Asselbergs, the inventor of instant mashed potatoes, another proud Canadian moment. I'm always surprised. It's time for the hate mail of the week, and I'm always surprised at reaction. I say that all the time. But I look back over the last month, and what kind of a comment garners the most, let's say, disagreement, some of it not very pleasant. Well, it's really interesting. When someone disagrees with you, you're automatically a moron. Well, that's what I'm referring to here. But is there a trend that is more obvious, that is less paid attention to, certainly by the establishment, we talked about it earlier, than technology? Well, I shouldn't mention that according to some people. Let me play this for you.
Let me give a shout-out to the crowds of ill-wishers who email anytime I say we should consider the incentives for technological substitution when pushing for a big jump in minimum wage. Shout-out to the hate mailers when I talk about the failure of public education to address the impact of technology on future employment, or when I warn that self-driving trucks, buses, cars, taxis are coming far faster than any political or special leader seems to understand. Many thanks for the flack. Meanwhile, Foxconn, the manufacturer that builds smartphones and other electronic devices for a variety of companies, including Samsung and Microsoft, just replaced 60,000 workers with robots. Adidas announced last week that after a 23-year absence, it's going to manufacture running shoes in Germany again at a factory operated largely by robots. They've got a similar plant coming in the U.S. Pizza Hut just announced that it will introduce robots with artificial intelligence that will take your orders and process your payments all by the end of the year. 3 weeks ago, KFC opened a 100% fully automated restaurant managed by robots with artificial intelligence. Last week, Wendy's announced the introduction of 6,000 self-ordering kiosks. The U.S. Army just announced an important test of driverless vehicles in Michigan next month. My question, and it's a good one for the educational establishment, organized labor, politicians, proponents of dramatically increasing the minimum wage, is it still just move along, nothing to see here? That's their attitude so far, and they come back at me with, how dare you state that the impact of technology has to be part of the policy discussion? And my response, in an effort to be part of the progressive in-crowd, is, yes, it's 2016.
Well, there you go. It is interesting. How much information would you need before we'd incorporate the impact of technological substitution on our policy discussions? And it should start with education, but it should include minimum wage. It should include virtually, look at our transportation system and the impact it's going to feel from self-driving trucks, self-driving buses, self-driving cars. I mean, it's a big subject. All I'm saying is you listen and pay attention. It's never part of it. I'm very critical of some academics I know. I make them uncomfortable by saying, by not including the technological substitution when you examine things like the raising of Canada Pension Plan payroll taxes or minimum wage, etc. I said you are missing the boat. The elephant's in the room, and it's more than just sitting there. It's crapping there. Sorry about that.